All right, get ready, because today we're going deep into a text all about inner peace and spiritual enlightenment, the Sutra of Pure and Calm.
Attributed to Lao Tzu.
That's right, the ancient Chinese philosopher who many consider to be the founder of Taoism.
You might know him from a pretty famous quote.
Oh, yeah.
A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
Love that one.
But we're going way deeper than that today,
Yeah.
exploring the core of Taoism, really, and how we can use it, to find some inner peace.
All right, so let's start with this Tao then. Like, what is it exactly?
Well, the sutra describes Tao as, this ultimate reality,
Okay.
the source of everything. It's like, imagine trying to describe the ocean. It's vast and formless,
Yeah.
but it's the source of every wave and creature in it.
So it's not something you can just point to and be like, there it is, that's Tao.
Yeah.
It's more like a force or a principle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And here's where it gets really interesting. The sutra says that Tao is desireless, but it's what sets the entire cosmos in motion. It doesn't have a will of its own, yet it's the force behind all creation.
Whoa.
Right.
Yeah, a bit of a paradox. How can something be both desireless and the driving force behind, well, everything?
I know. That's the beauty of Taoism, though. Embraces paradox. It really encourages us to think beyond how we usually see things.
Like our dualistic way of seeing things.
Yeah, exactly. It's about understanding that opposites are interconnected. Like there's a balance and a harmony underlying everything.
Okay, so how does understanding this concept of Tao help us? Like in our everyday life? I'm talking dealing with traffic jams and deadlines,
Good point. Have you ever noticed how when you try really hard to make something happen,
Oh, yeah.
it just makes more resistance, more frustration?
All the time.
Right. Well, Taoism teaches us that there's a natural flow to life. And when we fight it, we just create unnecessary suffering. It's about learning to align ourselves with that flow, to act with effortless effort,
Okay.
like a surfer riding a wave.
I like that.
The sutra calls this wu-wei, which is often translated as non-action. But it's not about being passive, really. It's more about acting in harmony with the way things naturally are.
So instead of trying to constantly control everything, it's about finding that sweet spot where you're working with the universe, not against it.
Exactly. And this can apply to everything. How we approach work, how we navigate our relationships. When we let go of needing to control and force things, we open ourselves up to a much more effortless and joyful way of being.
Okay, I can get behind that. So beside this concept of Tao, what else does the Sutra of Pure and Calm emphasize?
Well, it's right there in the title, right?
Yeah.
Purity and calmness. Lao Tzu saw these as two sides of the same coin, essential for finding inner peace and ultimately aligning ourselves with Tao.
Okay, but those seem like opposites though, right? How can we be both pure and calm?
Well, that's where the idea of duality comes in. Remember, Taoism is all about embracing those paradoxes. The sutra uses the examples of heaven and earth, yin and yang, two seemingly opposite forces that are actually totally interconnected and super essential for balance.
Okay, I get it. Give me an example though. How does this duality actually play out in our lives?
Think about it. You can't have a valley without a mountain, right?
True.
You can't have light without darkness, or calmness without, first experiencing activity.
So, you can't really appreciate stillness until you've been through the hustle and bustle.
Exactly.
That makes sense. But what does this have to do with purity?
Well, the sutra says that purity arises from turbidity,
Okay.
just like calmness comes from activity. It's about understanding that everything's interconnected. Even those things that we might see as negative or impure actually have a role to play in the big picture.
Okay, so it's not about trying to get rid of everything that's impure, but about finding balance and understanding that everything's connected,
Yeah.
That's deep. What about us humans, though? Are we just naturally pure and calm?
Well, according to the sutra, not exactly. It observes that while our spirit might, yearn for purity, our hearts are constantly disturbed.
Wow.
Desires,
Oh.
distractions.
Oh, yeah, I can definitely relate to that. It's like we have this inner voice that just wants peace and quiet.
Right.
But then there's this other part of us that's constantly craving things, worrying about things, and getting caught up in the drama of everything.
Exactly. And the sutra points to our senses as the main culprit.
Oh. Okay.
Sight, sound, touch, taste. They're always bombarding us with stimuli,
Yeah.
triggering desires and attachments that pull us away from calmness and purity.
So it's like our senses are these doorways to temptation and distraction.
Exactly. And we can get lost.
Lost.
Yeah, in that world.
Hmm.
And the sutra actually calls a result of this greed, anger, and infatuation.
Okay.
The 3 spiritual poisons.
Whoa, spiritual poisons. That sounds pretty serious. What makes them so poisonous?
Well, they're poisonous because they, like, cloud our minds. They distort our perceptions and keep us trapped in this cycle of always wanting more, never being satisfied. Think about it. Have you ever really wanted something, like a new gadget or a promotion?
Oh, yeah.
And then when you finally got it, the satisfaction was just, like, fleeting.
Yeah,
You know, you just end up wanting something else.
totally. It's like that saying, the grass is always greener.
Right, that's desire. It keeps us chasing, believing that happiness is in getting more, achieving more, being more.
So according to the sutra, these spiritual poisons are the main obstacles to achieving inner peace and aligning ourselves with Tao.
Yes, they keep us focused on the external.
Yeah.
Always chasing after things that are never going to make us truly happy.
Right.
And this brings us to the next really important point in the sutra, the path to calmness and purity.
Okay, so if these spiritual poisons are the problem, what's the solution? How do we, get rid of them?
Well, according to Lao Tzu, it's not really about getting rid of desires as much as it is transforming how we relate to them, understanding them, learning to, like, detach from them.
So it's not about being an emotionless robot.
No.
It's about finding a way to experience desire but not be controlled by it.
Exactly.
Mm.
The sutra suggests this process of looking inward, finding stillness, and observing the world without attaching to forms. It's about detaching, not just from physical things, but from thoughts and emotions, too.
Wow.
The key to this, according to Lao Tzu, is to focus on emptiness and quietness, to cultivate inner stillness even when everything around you is chaotic.
That sounds like a tall order these days.
It does, yeah.
With how much information and stimulation is constantly around us.
I know. It takes practice.
Yeah.
But even small steps can make a difference. Things like meditation, spending time in nature, or just taking a few minutes each day to just breathe and quiet your mind.
Just finding those little pockets of peace and quiet amidst the chaos.
Exactly. And the more you practice, the easier it gets to access that state of calm, even in tough situations. It's like building a muscle.
The more you exercise it, the stronger it gets.
Yes. And the stronger your inner peace is, the less you'll be pulled around by all those external desires and distractions.
So by cultivating calmness and purity inside ourselves, we essentially weaken the grip of those spiritual poisons.
Precisely. And as we do that, we start to align with Tao. And that's where the real magic happens.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued, but maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves here. We need to unpack this whole aligning with Tao thing more.
Yeah, let's do it. So aligning with Tao, huh?
Yeah, it's like finding that perfect groove, right?
It's
where you're just effortlessly moving with the universe.
the rhythm of it all, yeah.
Yeah. But how do we actually do that? This sutra doesn't exactly come with like a step-by-step guide, right?
True. It's not exactly a recipe book,
Right.
but it gives us some good clues. Remember those 3 spiritual poisons we talked about?
Greed, anger, and infatuation.
Those are like roadblocks, you know?
Roadblocks.
Yeah, on the path to aligning with Tao.
So step 1 is dealing with those poisons. Easier said than done.
Oh, for sure. But here's the thing. The sutra isn't saying we need to, completely wipe out all desire.
Okay.
It's more about, understanding where those desires come from, how they get us hooked, and how we can, loosen their grip a bit.
So not about being a desireless monk living in a cave.
No, not at all.
It's about having a healthier relationship with our desires.
Yes. And shifting our focus inward is key to that.
Okay.
Remember that inner stillness.
Yeah.
That's the foundation.
Okay, but how does inner stillness help us with desire? 10 minutes of meditation isn't going to magically make me stop wanting that triple chocolate cake, right?
Well, maybe not the cake specifically, but here's the thing. When we cultivate inner stillness, we create space
Space for?
between us and our desires. We're not so caught up in all the thoughts and emotions,
So it's like creating some distance.
Yeah,
So we can see them more clearly. Yeah.
exactly. And when we see them more clearly, we can start to, question them a bit. Is this desire really serving me? Or is
Yeah.
it just a fleeting thing that's going to leave me feeling empty afterward?
Right, yeah. But it sounds like a constant battle, though. We're always going to be fighting with these desires. Is there ever a point where we're, free from them?
That's where this idea of achieving the realm of Tao comes in.
Okay.
The Sutra talks about it as this state of complete harmony,
Okay.
complete alignment with the universe.
So ultimate inner peace, where we're not controlled by our desires and all the distractions.
Yeah, in a way. But, and here's another paradox.
Oh.
The Sutra says that even though it seems like a goal, like a destination,
Yeah.
actually nothing has gained.
Wait, what? So we reach this, like, ultimate state of enlightenment, and we haven't actually gained anything.
It is a bit of a mind bender, isn't it?
Yeah.
But what Lao Tzu's getting at is that achieving the realm of Tao isn't about getting something new. It's about realizing what's already there.
What's already there?
Our true nature.
Okay.
Which is already pure and calm.
So it's not about adding something to ourselves.
No.
It's about getting rid of all the layers of conditioning, desires, attachments, all the stuff that's like hiding our true nature.
Exactly. It's about getting back to that original wholeness, that interconnectedness with everything. And that, according to the Sutra, is where real happiness comes from.
That's a beautiful idea. But let's be honest, reaching that level of like enlightenment sounds pretty tough.
That's a journey.
Yeah. Are there any like practical steps we can take to get there?
Absolutely. Remember Wu Wei.
Effortless effort.
Yes. That's key to aligning with Tao.
Okay.
It's about finding that balance between, striving and surrendering, effort and ease.
I'm still a little fuzzy on Wu Wei.
Yeah.
Can you give me an example? Like, what does it actually look like?
Okay, imagine a gardener planting a seed.
Right.
They prepare the soil, they plant the seed, they water it, they give it sunlight. But they can't force that seed to grow. All they can do is create the right conditions.
Okay.
And then trust the natural process.
So put in the effort, but let go of needing to control the outcome.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that goes for so much in life. A work project, creative stuff, even relationships. We can put in the effort, but then we have to, surrender. Let things unfold naturally. Trust that it'll work out.
Powerful concept. But definitely easier said than done.
I know, right?
Especially these days when we're constantly told to hustle and strive and achieve.
Yeah, that's where the Sutra's insights about false fantasies are so important.
Ah, right. Those false fantasies. The illusions that pull us away from our true nature make us chase things that will never really satisfy us. Can you, unpack that a bit more?
Think about all the messages we get every day.
Yeah.
Ads telling us we need the newest gadgets, social media showing these perfect lives, pressure to climb the career ladder. It creates this sense of lack.
Like we're not enough as we are.
Yeah. Like happiness is somewhere out there.
Always just out of reach.
Exactly. And the more we buy into those false fantasies, the further we drift from who we really are, from that inner peace, that's always there.
So how do we escape those false fantasies? Like, recognize them and not get sucked in by them?
It starts with awareness. The more we see them for what they are, the less power they have over us. It's about questioning the messages we're given, right? Asking ourselves, is this really true? Does it match what I believe in? Will this actually bring me lasting happiness?
So, be skeptical.
Yeah. Don't just blindly believe everything you're told.
Develop our own internal compass.
Exactly. And simplify our lives. Less exposure to those false fantasies, More space for stillness, for reflection, for connecting with our true selves.
This makes so much sense, but it sounds like a huge shift.
It can be.
Especially in our culture where we're, swimming in those false fantasies.
Not about becoming a hermit, though. Rejecting everything modern society has to offer. It's about being conscious, making choices, setting boundaries, prioritizing the things that feed our souls, the things that really matter to us.
So finding that balance between engaging with the world and staying true to ourselves.
Yes. Enjoying what's good, but not getting lost in the illusions.
And that balance is something we're constantly, working on.
Absolutely. It's a journey, not a destination.
I love that. This has been so insightful. But before we wrap up this part of our exploration, I wanted to touch on one more thing that stood out to me in the Sutra. It mentions that, even though achieving the realm of Tao might seem like the ultimate goal, it's not about, personal gain or achievement. It's about helping others.
That's a really crucial point. True enlightenment, according to the Sutra, isn't just about personal peace.
Right.
It's about sharing that.
Yeah.
Extending that compassion and understanding outwards to benefit everyone.
So how do we do that? How do we take these ideas of purity and calmness and, make a real difference in the world?
That's where it gets really interesting, because there's not one answer. It's about finding ways to live those principles
Okay.
in our own way, in our everyday interactions, our work, our relationships, how we show up in the world.
So it's not about following a set of rules or like dogmas.
Right. It's about finding our own authentic expression.
So it could be as simple as being patient with that annoying coworker,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
Offering a kind word to a stranger, making an effort to consume less, live more sustainably.
Or maybe it's using your talents, your passions, to create something beautiful, to inspire people, to help a cause you believe in. It's about bringing more peace and compassion and understanding into the world in whatever way feels right for you.
Because ultimately, the sutra is saying that true enlightenment isn't about what you achieve personally, but about the positive impact you have on others.
Right. And it doesn't have to be something huge. It can start with small acts of kindness. Even the smallest thing can make a difference.
This has been such a rich discussion. I feel like we've really unpacked the key principles of this sutra.
It's a text that's full of wisdom.
It is.
But more than that, it challenges us to live that wisdom,
Yeah.
to cultivate inner peace and share it with the world, to create more compassion, more understanding.
And with that in mind, I think it's time to move on to our final thoughts, maybe leave our listener with a little something to think about as we wrap up this deep dive. So we've covered a lot.
Yeah.
The nature of Tao, purity, calmness, those false fantasies, and how to align ourselves with, well, with the flow of the universe. But I think the thing that really struck with me is this idea that enlightenment isn't just about, personal peace. It's about spreading that peace.
It is. It's like when we cultivate that inner peace,
Yeah.
it just naturally starts to radiate outwards,
Yeah,
right?
that does.
It affects everything, our interactions, our relationships, just how we move through the world.
It's like that saying, be the change you want to see.
Exactly. But the cool thing about this sutra is that it doesn't tell us how to do that. It's not about following some strict set of rules. It's about embodying these principles,
Mhm.
purity, calmness, selflessness, but in our own way.
So it's not about rigid rules. It's about finding our own way to express these ideas in our lives.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It could be something small even. Being patient with someone who's getting on your nerves.
Right.
Saying something kind to a stranger. Thinking about how much we consume and trying to live a little lighter.
Or maybe it's about using what we're good at, our passions, to create something, inspire other people, contribute to a cause that matters to us.
Yeah, exactly. It's about finding those places where what we love meets what the world needs, and then acting from a place of peace, and compassion.
Because the sutra seems to be saying that true enlightenment isn't about personal gain, it's about the impact we have on others.
Right, and it doesn't have to be huge, right? It can be small things, acts of kindness. Even the smallest gesture can create a ripple effect.
So as we finish up our deep dive into the Sutra of Pure and Calm, I want to leave you with a question. What can you do starting today to bring these principles to life?
Mm.
How can you be a source of peace in a world that can feel so chaotic and divided? It's something to think about. This sutra was written ages ago, but it feels so relevant today, don't you think?
I do, absolutely. And who knows, maybe if we all embrace these ideas, if we all cultivate that inner peace and share it with those around us, maybe we can make the world a little bit brighter.
A little bit kinder.
Yeah, a little bit more in harmony with that flow of Tao.
Beautifully said. And on that note, we'll leave you to think about all of this. Discover your own path to inner peace and making a difference. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, may you find that peace within and share it wherever you go.